Last winter, I attempted one of the most difficult fishing challenges I've ever tried. I forged my own fish hooks and battled trophy blue catfish from the bank, and it was epic. And if you haven't seen my first forged fish hook challenge, you need to stop what you're doing, click the link in the description, and go watch that video now. But this year, 7 months later, I'm taking another crack at the forged fish hook challenge. And if I can catch a fish with one of my forged fish hooks, I'm going to give away a rod and reel combo. You can see here I'm using 1/8 inch steel rod to make these fish hooks, and I'm going to do a few things a little bit differently than I did last winter. But starting off, I'm going to put a point on this thing, and then I'm going to bend it. And I've got a piece of rebar, 1/2 inch rebar, that I'm using to bend the hook. So I'm making slightly smaller hooks than I did last year. So instead of making like 8/0, 10/0 hooks like I did last year, these are going to be like 6/8. I'm using the forge I built. So by the way, if you'd like to see more blacksmithing videos, check out my other YouTube channel, the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel. That's where I'm putting all my blacksmithing videos nowadays. So don't forget to subscribe to that. But at any rate, you can see here I'm pounding out this hook, and I don't have a barb on it because last year I had some really massive barbs on my hooks, and I thought that they might be interfering with my hookup ratio. And so this one's actually a barbless hook, and I'm trying to make it nice and small. And so you can see here I put the point on it, I bent it around the rebar. Now I'm folding over the top to make the eyelet, and closing the gap up a little bit, and you can see there you go. That's what it looks like. And now what I'm doing is I'm twisting the eyelet 90 degrees so it sits right, and then pinching it closed, and then bending it back like they do with octopus hooks or circle hooks. And there you go. Actually not too bad looking. So now I'm moving on to the second hook, and this one I'm going to put a barb on, but I'm going to make it a smaller barb than I did last year. I'm using a little borax as flux. What I'm doing is I'm folding over the tip of the rod and trying to fuse it together to make the barb. And then I take the bend, this elbow, and I hammer it out into a point. Now this makes a massive point and a massive barb. And last year I just left it as is and had these huge barbs on it. But what I'm doing is I'm taking a chisel and I'm cutting off a bit of the barb. So it's going to be a more subtle barb than it was last year. It's still going to be pretty big, but it's going to be a lot smaller than it was before. And then I bend it around the 1/2 inch rebar to get the bend in the hook. And then I'm bending the top to make the eyelet. You can see here I'm working that down, and the steel's starting to cool, so I gotta go get that heated back up. Now I'm taking the cold chisel. I'm going to trim off the excess on the eye. Put a little borax on that. That's a flux, so that when you're fusing things together like the barb or the eye, it's to keep oxidation out from in the joint. Now I'm taking this little hole punch here, and I'm using it to spread the eye because the eye kind of collapsed on me. So I'm popping that right into the seam and opening the eye back up. And trimming off a little bit more excess. Try to get the eye a little bit smaller. Then I'm positioning the eye and putting a little bit of a bend in the eye. And now I'm putting the hook in the vise. I'm going to twist the eye 90 degrees. And now I'm going to bend it back a little bit. Putting about a 33-degree bend in it. Last time I had the forge up, I got these two hooks made up. They're not looking too bad. I still need to work them over with the angle grinder, polish them up a little bit, and then heat treat them. And then polish them and sharpen them some more. But I'm going to make some more hooks. I want more than 2 so I can run more than 1 rod, and in case I lose a couple. So we're going to see what happens here.
Like spiders, okay? They're friendly. They're going to run out so they won't be hurt.
I built this forge last fall, and it's just been a load of fun. It cost me about $200 to make it, and I made a video about how to build your own forge. So if you want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description. But it's it's been a lot of really fun projects with this thing. I've been making knives and fish hooks and all sorts of odds and ends with it. And I've been doing a fair amount of blacksmithing videos this summer, and I've got a axe forging video I want to do. But I kind of want to wait until the weather cools down. It was 90-something degrees and super humid when I did this. Man, I get feeling like I have heat stroke every time I just watch this video thinking about it. Now you can check out here what I'm doing is I'm really trying to keep these barbs down. So I'm trimming off a lot of material, and I still look at this video and go, man, I should have done even more. Those are still some huge beefy barbs, but I got them. They're not blade-like. Last year the barbs were sharp on the edge, had a cutting edge on them, and this year they're conical. Yeah, I did this eye kind of scawampus. I keep watching this video going, that is a weird way of doing it. It looked cooler in my mind. But I was trying out different techniques. I wanted to make like 4 hooks because I ended up losing all of my hooks the last time. So I wanted to have a few more hooks available to me. And I was kind of trying out different techniques and different designs each time I did it, trying to experiment a little bit. No, I don't think I would do this method again for making the eye. It was really, really bulky. But you see here I'm using a smaller fire. I was kind of overdoing it the first few times. Had a lot more fire than necessary. Oh, man, I can't tell you how hot that was. I got burned so much from all those sparks. Here, kind of an ugly looking eye. Okay, last fishing hook. Man, I can't tell you how long it took me to film this. It was multiple days over the period of about a month to get this much footage. I spent a lot of time doing this after work and coming home and working on this forge a little bit at a time. But in the end, we got it done. Here, now this one I'm going to try to make a real small point. I'm going to try to make as delicate of a point as I can. So I'm drawing out the metal into a point, really trying to fuse the barb together, and then I'm going to go and trim off the excess. But even then, you look at that, that's still really big. That's a huge point, and the distance from the point to the barb is too far. So I'm going to go and trim off even more material, and then draw it out again and reshape it into a point. And you see there, it's a lot smaller. Still a pretty aggressive barb, but you see a lot smaller, especially from what I did last year. You see here, I tried another technique. I'm bending the eye around the punch here, trying to make a smaller eyelet. Once again, I'm using kind of a squirrely technique here that I don't think I would do again. But I'm kind of experimenting with different things, trying to see if I can make the eye as small and as dainty as possible. And this kind of had the opposite effect. It was a squirrely looking thing. But yeah, what the hey, it's still Still closed up. I gotta tell you what, guys, foraging in the summertime is not as fun as doing it in the wintertime. It is hot. It's 90 degrees out and it's humid, and I'm hanging over this hot fire just right in my face, and I'm just drenched with sweat. It's a bit nasty. Here's my my 4 hooks in the raw. This one looks pretty good, actually. I'm liking that one. Yeah, we'll see. Pretty ugly. Big old huge eyes on them. Yeah, this one's still hot. Big old huge eyes, but I'm going to take the angle grinder to them, and I think that'll do a lot of good. But I'm not sure about the angle of the eyelet, so we'll have to see how it hangs. This one, I think I hanging it too extreme, but we'll see. All right, so I've got 4 hooks, and they're roughly shaped. So I need to take an angle grinder and a file, clean up the barbs and the eyelets. Then I'm gonna go and heat treat them, and then polish them up, and we'll see what we got. So there we go, we got the points ground down, we've got the eyelets cleaned up. Looking pretty good. Let's get some fire going. Not anymore.
Daddy, oh, it's sharp.
Okay.
Is it sharp?
Yeah, it's a little sharp. We're gonna make it even sharper.
There's a whole bunch in there.
Yeah. Let's see.
The dark.
Oh, yeah, watch out, Nathan. All right, so there we go. We've heat treated the hooks. We've got them shaped. Now we just need to polish them and sharpen them up. And let the kids play my quenching bucket. What are you doing?
I want to play in the water.
All right, go for it. Play in the water. Playing with fire and beating on metal is definitely the fun part of this process, but polishing and grinding and sharpening is the most time-consuming portion. Just sitting down and just working the points and getting the rough spots off, that took a lot of time. And started off with a file, then went from 60 grit down to 200 grit sandpaper to try to get the point as smooth as possible, and it just took a long time. Okay, so here's the finished product. These are smaller than last year's. The barbs are more conventional and smaller, and it's got a thinner profile. Even one of them has no barb. And so time to snell them up and get them on the leaders. So I've got the 60-pound fluorocarbon, and I'm just doing a knotless knot. We put it through the eyelet, wrap the shank 6 times, then feed it back through the eyelet, and then tie a loop on the end. If you want to see how to tie this knot, the knotless knot, how to snell hooks and make these rigs, I've got a great video on how to do this with much better or close-up camera work. So I'll put a link in the description if you want to know how to snell your own hooks and make your own rigs like this. All right, there we go. 4 hand-forged hooks, snelled up with 60-pound fluorocarbon. We're ready to go fishing. All right, it's time for phase 2 of the Forged Fish Hook Challenge. We gotta go catch ourselves a fish. I've got 4 rods rigged up with my 4 forged hooks. Me and my boy Tommy, we're going night fishing. We're gonna see if we can't catch something on those hooks. Now, I want you guys to be as excited about this as I am. So I'm telling you what I'm gonna do. Any one of those rod and reel combos catches a fish on one of my forged fish hooks, I'm giving it away to one of you subscribers, so stay tuned for details. Let's see if we can't do this. Now, Tommy, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's get ourselves some bait. I'm gonna use some cut up shad, and let's see what we can find. Okay, in the summertime, the shad don't school up as thick as they do in the wintertime, so instead of using the fish finder, I look out over the surface and try to find signs of shad breaking the surface, and usually I'll find them pretty shallow, 4 or 5 feet of water.
Do you make those fish too?
I don't need that many.
What? Ah, take a look at that fish.
Yeah, that's a crappie. Here, Tommy, you throw the crappie overboard? Yeah, get him overboard. All right, there we go. We got bait. All right, Tommy, you ready? Let's do this. Excited to be out fishing with me, buddy?
Yeah. Oh, there's a log right there.
Oh, yeah.
Dang, look! The fish is in your butt!
All right, so here we go.
Let's put him back in the...
Got a forged fish hook, nice fresh piece of shad on there, 3-ounce weight on a slider, and I've got my Ugly Stick GX2 with a Ming Yang reel, 40-pound spider wire. Let's go see if we can't catch something. Now, it's gonna be night soon, so I've got these Team Catfish glow wrap stickers stuck on the end of my rod. They glow in the dark like nothing else, so should be able to see what's going on with my rods, because I need to be paying close attention today.
Like too fast! Like this fish is going too fast!
All right, hook number 2 is set up on my Rippin' Lips rod, the Okuma Trio's 55S reel. Let's put it out there. Okay, Meat Hunter, 8-foot rod with another Okuma Trio's 55S. Let's get this sucker out a little deeper.
Me.
Okay, hook number 4. I've got it rigged up on this Ugly Stick Catfish rod, and I've got a Cast King Kodiak, more of that spider wire braid.
The fishies are ready to taste it.
It is a high of 96 today. Right now it's in the high 70s, and Tommy said he's cold and he'd like to put his jacket on. So are you cold?
Warm! And then when I take it off, I'm cold!
So I've been using these Team Catfish glow wraps for a while. I really like them. They're these high-powered glow-in-the-dark stickers. You can cut them up, put them on your bobbers, the tips of your rods, in your pliers, whatever, and you can see it really well at night. And it starts to fade after about 30 minutes and then kind of lingers at, you know, moderate power for an hour or two. You can just hit it with a flashlight for a few seconds and then it charges right back up. So this thing works really awesome for night fishing. Just turning on my LED lights when I get a bite is enough to recharge the stickers. It's pretty crazy. Because these hooks are not circle hooks, and because they're relatively dull compared to the chemically sharpened hooks we buy nowadays, it's really a trick. I've got to time the hook set just right, and I've got to give it everything I've got. So right now what I'm doing is I've got the line clicker going. Okay, and so I've got the almost no resistance on the reel and the line clicker going. So if a fish starts to take line, I can hear it, And I want that fish to really commit and get that in his mouth. And then I'm just gonna hork it for all I'm worth and hope I get a hook up. So we'll see if that works. On these 3 spinning reels, I'm fishing with slack lines because I really want that fish to commit before I set the hook. I don't want him to feel any resistance before I set the hook. So I've got slack lines, and then I can watch the line and see if the line moves, and then set the hook. Look at that, look at that. Okay.
I could do it, I could do it.
Hold on.
Let me have it, let me have it. Let me have it.
No, Tommy, hold on. Oh.
Daddy.
Hold still. Look at that, right there. Right there on the far right. Tommy, shh, quiet, buddy, quiet. Well, my hook is snagged up, so at least I know it's sharp enough to get stuck. I guess that's something. But we might end up moving spots here in a little bit, and then I'll go get it out. I'm not popping that thing off. All right, well, we got a couple hits. Had one real good take that I missed, but it's gotten quiet, so we're gonna go move spots. Try somewhere else. Oh, so many bugs!
They don't like you? They just like you?
Well, it's midnight and I've been fishing for about 4.5 hours, and I got one good bite and that didn't hook up. A few nibbles, lost some bait. Man, it's been super slow. It's been rough. So I got to keep at this challenge. I can't give up, but man, this is off to a rough start. But my little buddy is fast asleep. He's been asleep for the last 2 or 3 hours, so we're gonna go get him to bed. All right, it's day 3 of the Forged Fish Hook Challenge. I have tried, this is my 3rd trip, and I have lost a half dozen fish. Today's the day. We're gonna get it, aren't we, Tommy?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it to it.
Oh. Hey, there's fish.
My goodness, it's 89 degrees. I mean, that water is hot. Yeah, that's gonna affect everything. I think we need to go a little deeper than normal and fish more of the main channels because the lagoons are gonna be even hotter. All right, look at that big old snag. It's been here for a while too, so there might be some catfish in there.
Search to fish.
Okay. Okay, there we go.
That was creepy. Reel him. It's smelly fish.
Yeah, that's pretty typical of your dad.
Mama.
Well, day 3 and no success. This challenge is just killing me. We'll see what happens. I need a mental health break on this one. This has been one of the most frustrating challenges I've ever done. For this video alone, I've been working on this for a month and a half, 2 months, and I've been fishing for probably 16 hours of fishing, and I've gotten 12 hits and not a single fish even close to the boat. There's definitely something wrong with my hooks, and I could either just slog it out and keep trying for another 16 hours, or I could go back to the drawing board. And I think I need to go back to the drawing board. Right now I'm thinking I need to get thinner gauge steel, so I need to get my hands on some high quality thin gauge wire. And I think I need to bend the eyelets forward instead of back. I've been bending them back like an octopus hook or a circle hook. I think I need to bend them forward like a bait hook, or at least have them straight up like a swash. I think those are my biggest issues. I think the hook should be smaller too. Right now they're like 6/8 and I think I need to make them like 2/0, 4/0. So that's what I think I'm gonna do, but I gotta give it some thought. And I'm heading back to the drawing board. But if you have some ideas, leave a comment. I'm glad to hear some suggestions. And don't forget to click subscribe. We put out multiple videos every week. Thanks for watching.